record to cloud. All right, good morning, everybody. Today, we are going to use a Pilates ball, a set of hand weights, and a wall. I know you all have a wall at home, so make sure you have a wall nearby. If not, you could probably use an ottoman or a table. It's for us to have our legs at 90 degrees. A wall is preferable though. All right, so let's start standing. Feet about hip distance apart. And we're going to start with our eyes closed. As always, I like to start the same way. And let's just start by slowing our breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Nice and slow. Let's start to think of our body position. Feet first, big toe, little toe, heel, firmly planted on your mat. Try to spread those toes wide, giving you a larger foundation, a larger base of support. From there, we think about our ankles. And I like the body scan at the beginning, not to judge where our body is at, but just to be aware of different parts of the body. Sometimes we kind of forget we have ankles, and then we think about our shins and our calves that are not areas of our body that we think about on a regular basis. So it's just nice to draw attention to them and notice. Sometimes you may notice that you have some tightness somewhere where you usually don't. Thinking about our knees, never locked. That's a big one. Make sure that they're always a little bit soft. I want them straight, but soft, little slight bend, never locked, never hyperextended. Still slowing the breath in through the nose and either out through the nose or the mouth. But always try to inhale through your nose. From the knees, we start to draw attention to our thighs, our quads, front of the leg, hamstrings, back of the leg, into the glutes. For this position, for this part of the body, I just like to draw attention to see if we're over squeezing anything, if our muscles are really tense. And then I like to check in on our hips. I like to see if we feel a hike one side or the other, if we feel a slight rotation or a tilt. If you've got a tight back, you may notice that your hips are tilted, your pelvis is tilted. It's just little things to draw attention to. Sometimes we can spot something before it becomes worse than it needs to be. From there, let's bring our hands to our ribs. So the outside of your ribs, and I want you to grab them, and we're going to go for 5 expansive lateral breaths. So I want you to think of expanding your hands, so your ribs pushing into your hands on a big inhale. And as you exhale, I want you to think of drawing those ribs into the center, like knitting them together. Nice and wide. 3 more. And let all the air out. Really push all of your air out. 2 more. Last one. Relax your arms at your sides. Now, before we do anything with our shoulders, just think about where they feel to be. Do you feel like your shoulders are up too high? Are they rolled forward? And then I like to put them in the proper position, or more effective, efficient position. We're going to bring our shoulders up towards the ears, roll them back and down. We'll do that once more, and don't force it. You just want them to land where they're comfortable. And then let's think of the crown of the head pulling the neck long up to the sky, like you're being held by a string, kind of like a puppet. We're going to inhale, reach our arms up overhead. For those of us without osteoporosis, we go for a roll down. If you do have osteoporosis, it's a forward fold. So we're going to round the body, articulating the spine. And I want you to go extra slow today, really, really focusing on rounding and just thinking of one individual vertebra at a time. If you're forward bending, forward folding at the hips, you take your time as well and focus on that flat back. Either way, we're all hanging out at the bottom, either with that nice flat back or rounded forward. And we're just going to take a few breaths into our backs. You're trying to send your breath into the back of your body. Two more. On the next exhale, let's bend the knees and we come all the way up. Nice and slow. Rolling up, thinking of stacking the spine one at a time. We're going to inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Let's interlace our fingers, trying to keep the arms as straight as possible. Your head is centered between your biceps. We're going to bend to the side. Let's go over to the left. Again, osteoporosis, you're not going very far at all. The rest of us, we're bending as far as we're comfortable, keeping that head centered between the biceps. In this position, we're going to hold for a bit here. I want you to be conscious and aware of that lower back. If you feel any pulling in that lower part of your back, be careful that in this position, you're not arching. You want to make sure you've got your ribs connected to the hips and you're pulling your belly in as you bend over, which will support the spine. There should be zero low back discomfort at all. We're holding. Let's come back to the center and we're going over to the right this time. So pull that belly in and we're just stretching to the side, but we're being very conscious of our body position. Tuck that tail just slightly, enough where you feel the support in the spine, but you're not overdoing it. As much as necessary, as least as possible. It's Pilates motto. Back to the center, let go of those fingers. We're going to round the body forward, one individual vertebra at a time, nice and slow. Big breath in at the bottom. Exhale, bend those knees, come all the way tall. Before we lift our heels, I want to actually go through our toe cars that we do in our mobility class. I want you guys to think of lifting just the big toe. We're just going to lift it up and down 3 times. Lift just the big toe. If you're unable to do this, use your fingers, your hands to block the other toes. Let's lift the outer 4 toes. Up and down. Lift all of your toes, set just the big toe down. Up and down. And then let's set the toes down from the pinky toe all the way to the big toe. I just find toes are so important. This exercise really works the feet, and your feet are the foundation of your body. So now that we've got our feet warmed up a little bit, we're going to rise up onto our toes without pitching our body forward. We're going to think of going straight up to the sky with the crown of the head, tall, tall, tall. And you want to resist coming back down. So very slowly. So we're not falling down. We're going to come up, resist, back down. Up, resist. Trying to keep those ankles straight. As we lift, we often have a tendency to roll in or out to help with the balance. Try to stay nice and straight. Last one, up and down. Let's keep the heels anchored, and we're just going to push the knees forward as though we're sliding down a wall, and just feel this for a second. Feel where you feel restricted. Is it in the front of the ankle into the shin? Just make sure that you've got that image in your mind of where you're feeling restricted. Stand back, stand tall, bend those knees, pushing the knees forward, noticing where the restriction is, and back up and bend and up. 2 more. We bend, noticing where the restriction is, thinking of sliding down that wall. The rest of the body is nice and tall. Down, up. Let's combine up onto the toes, bending those knees, lowering those heels, and tall. Up, bending the knees, lowering the heels, tall, 3 more, up, bend, lower the heels, tall, up, bend those knees, lower the heels, tall, last one, up, bend the knees, lower the heels, tall, reverse, bend at the knee, lifting the heels, grow tall, lower those heels, bend the knees, lifting the heels, tall, lower the heels, bend the knees, lift heels, tall, lower the heels, last 2, bend the knees, lifting those heels, tall, lower the heels, last one, bend the knees forward, lifting the heels straight up, growing straight up, and lowering those heels. Very nice. From here, we're gonna go for a roll down and we're gonna walk out into a plank. You're forward folding if you've got your osteoporosis. We breathe in, reach up to the sky, rounding the body, slowly, gently, little bend in the knees if you need to bring those hands to the ground. We're gonna walk ourselves out into a plank position. Try not to move the hips too much. Find hands under shoulders, reach those heels away, reach the crown of the head away from the heels. And we're actually gonna walk ourselves back in all the way. Hang out at the bottom, big breath in. We're gonna walk out again. Find your nice plank again in this position. From here, we're going to rotate. You're gonna turn and we're gonna open one arm up to the sky. Hold strong. Come back down and rotate to the other side. If this is too much for you, you set your knees down. Switching sides again. Let's do 2 more each side. Open up. So you can be on your forearm. You can be on your knees. Nice and slow. You could make it a smaller range. Last one each direction. Open up. Back down. Rotate, open up. And back to the center. Set those knees down. Let's come onto our stomach. We're gonna come into that prone position. I want your hands one on top of the other, and we're gonna bring our forehead to our hands. Let's tuck our toes under, and I want you to think of reaching your heel. Start with one heel, reach it far away. Set that knee down gently, and then reach the other heel far away. We're gonna go back and forth from one side. Your head is down, pushing into the heel. Relax. Push into the other heel. Relax back and forth. Just see if you can start to feel a little bit more space in that lower back. And as you really reach that heel away, your knee floats up. Maybe a bit of a stretch in the front of the hip. Really reaching back and forth. Let's set the top of the foot on the ground. So reach long with the toes now. Set that foot down, reach along with the other toes, set it down. In this position, let's tuck the tail just a bit. So you're pulling that belly in to support the lower back, push into the hands, and I want you to pull your head away from the mat, keeping the back of the neck long. So your eyes are still facing down, kind of between your chest and your hands, and then come back down. Make sure we've got that support in the belly for the lower back, lower those shoulders, pull the head away from the mat, and back down. Let's go for 3 more of those. Pull the belly in, shoulders are down, push into those arms, lifting the head facing down. Back of the neck is long, really important. 2 more. Tummy and shoulders down, pull up. Back down. Tummy and shoulders down, last one. And back down. Let's move our hands to come under the shoulders. So now we are going to articulate that cervical spine, that back of the neck a little bit. Before we move, we tuck the tail, pull that belly in just a little bit, shoulders down, elbows reach towards the feet. I want you to think of pressing or moving a ping pong ball on the mat with your nose, and then push into the hands and lift just the top part of your chest. Shoulders are down, and then we come back down, chest first, and then the head. Again, belly in, shoulders down, push that ping pong ball along the mat with your nose, or a quarter or something that you have to push, and then continuing that same motion, being careful not to overdo the neck. Back down. Let's do another 3 of those. Shoulders down, reaching towards the feet, tummy in. Just that nice, gentle, it's a baby swan. It's a baby extension. We're not lifting super high. Tummy and shoulders down, last 2. And back down, 1 more. Tummy and shoulders down. Lift, lift, lift. And back down. Let's slowly press ourselves back into a child's pose. Round that spine just a little bit. And we're gonna come to the wall. You guys are gonna grab your Pilates ball. We're gonna lay on our backs with our feet pressing into the wall, with our legs at that 90-degree knee, at the knee. So my feet are gonna be about hip distance apart against the wall. My knees are above my hips. My feet are straight out from my knees. I'm gonna place the Pilates ball between my thighs. So we're using the wall to hold this position to start. What we're gonna do with the ball between the knees, we're just holding it for now. Relax the shoulders. We're gonna breathe. So we're gonna inhale through the nose. And as we exhale, I want you to let all of the air out of your body. Force it out, force it out, force it out. And just see what happens with your body as you let all of the air out. Inhale, relax. And exhale, let it all out. As you push the last bit of air out, you should notice your tail starts to lift a bit. Relax, inhale. Really force all of the air out of your lungs. Relax. Now on the exhales, I want you to think of squeezing those thighs together. So as I exhale, I'm going to squeeze. Inhale, release. Exhale, squeezing those inner thighs. Couple more. Before you inhale, think of pausing, not holding your breath, but pausing. So as I exhale, when I feel I've pushed out all of the air, I just take a little break and then I inhale. We're still squeezing the ball as we're exhaling. We're going to layer onto this. We're going to continue squeezing the ball on the exhale. But now I want you to also think of pressing into the wall with your feet and pushing down with your heels. It's almost as though you're sliding down the wall, but don't let your feet move. So you're pressing in and pushing down with the heels as you exhale. Inhale, release. Exhale, squeeze. Press into the wall and down with the heels. Inhale, try to keep the legs active, pushing down into the heels. So we're adding again. Exhale a little bit more. Squeezing those inner thighs, pushing down with the heels driving into the wall and down. Inhale, release. One more with the ball, and then we're going to get rid of it. Release. Let's relax for a second. We're going to stay here. You can set the ball aside, keeping the feet in that same position. We're going to change it a little bit. We're going to do a very similar breathing pattern. As we exhale, we're going to think of pressing into the wall down with the heels, but I want you to think of just the left leg. So as I'm exhaling, I'm really putting all of my weight pressing into that left heel down. And I want to see if you can activate that hamstring into glute. Inhale, release, and we're still going left leg. Inhale, release. That's 3. I want to do 2 more. Last one. We're going to add to this now. So we're going to exhale, push into the wall and down at the heel. And I want you to float the right leg up to the sky. So we've got that work going on that left side. We're going to keep breathing and we're going to tap the foot down on the wall and lift it up to the sky. So nothing's lifted in my pelvis. I've got my hips still down and I'm just tapping the foot down and lifting up. That's 2. We're doing 5. 3, still breathing. Up. 4. Up. You should feel lots of work in that left hamstring. And 5. Set that foot back on the ground and let's release. Relax for a second. Just breathe normally. And we're going to switch sides. So now we're going to start with those 5 breaths of trying to activate just the right foot, the right back of the leg. Exhale, think of pressing that right heel in and sliding it down the wall without actually moving. Push all of the air out. Inhale. Pushing that right foot in. 2 more. Keep pushing into that wall with that right foot. Float the left leg up. We're still breathing and we're tapping that left leg down on the wall for 5. 4, focus on the right hamstring. 3 more. 2. And 1. And set that left foot down. Let's relax for a second. Grab that Pilates ball if you've got it nearby. Put it between your knees. Let's put our arms in not quite a T position, but out to our sides. And keeping the feet on the wall, let's let our knees fall to one side. Your feet can lift slightly. They can rotate onto the inside, outside of the foot. And then we're going to go to the other side. I like the ball between the knees because it helps to bring the back leg with you. Back and forth. We're going to keep the ball between the knees purely for alignment purposes. Bring the arms a little closer to your body. We're going to go into a bridge, but a baby bridge. So remember, as we were exhaling completely before, we were letting all of the air out of our body, and we were contracting the abdominals, and the tail lifted on its own. So we're going to continue that, and we're going to try to lift this time. So pressing into the wall with the heels, take a big inhale. As we exhale, push all of the air out of your body. At the end of the exhale, the tail starts to lift, and I want you to physically lift a few more vertebrae, one at a time, only to where you are comfortable. Pause at the top, big inhale. Exhale, we come back down. Little break at the bottom, inhale. Exhale, fully breathe out. When your tail starts to naturally float, you continue the movement. Pausing at the top, big inhale. And exhaling down. Pausing at the bottom. Let's go for a couple more in your own time. Last two. One last full repetition. Let's take the ball away. Bring both knees into your chest. Just hug them in and rock side to side gently, slowly. We can come away from the wall. Take your time. Away from the wall, away from the wall. Let's find our feet about hip distance apart. Back of the head is anchored on the mat, shoulders are anchored, and let's just go through a few gentle, easy pelvic tilts. Exhale to flatten the back, inhale, little bit of space. Just feel how easy that feels compared to other days. And then we can place our hands on top of our pelvis. We can tilt side to side, lateral tilting from one side to the other, trying to flatten one side of the back and the other. Let's make it a clock, circling around, flattening the back, one side, little bit of extension through the middle. Number two, we'll do three. And we'll switch direction. Part of Pilates is learning to control your body. So even some of these simpler movements that are not always easy, and that's three, are really just to help us learn to control and to move our body as we wish. From here, we're going to find our neutral position in the spine. So we are not flat, we are not arched. We're going to lift one heel. So we're on the tips of our toes of one foot and then the other. So let's just rest here for a second. So the heels are lifted. Just want you to draw attention to keeping that neutral position. See if you can feel your abdominals, your tummy muscles working. From here, we're going to float one leg up to tabletop. So knee is above hip. We're trying to move from the hip and not from anywhere else. Keeping those abdominals in that neutral position, set that foot down, just the toes. Let's alternate to the other side. Inhale to lift and exhale down, using as little effort as possible, but as much as needed. Inhale up, exhaling down. If you want to set your feet further away from you, it's going to make it a little bit more challenging. Slow and control. Back and forth. If you have osteoporosis, this is one of your go-to exercises anytime we're doing something with flexion. This is a great, very safe exercise for most people. Let's keep one leg up in that tabletop position. If you're ready for the challenge, we're going to switch our legs simultaneously. So they pass each other in the air for 10. Make sure the rest of your body is nice and relaxed. 9, back of the head is anchored, shoulders are not moving. 8, breathing. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and set both feet down. Widen up the feet. Let's let the knees fall to one side and then the other. Back and forth, just feel that nice stretch. We're going to take our time. We're going to come into a side lying position. So you're going to roll onto your side. We're going to grab our Pilates ball again. We're going to place it underneath our ribs. So I want your ribs resting on the ball. We're going to start with our ribs pressing down into the ball. If you don't have a ball, you're using a towel. Sorry, I should have mentioned that. Towel, ball, whatever, you're pushing into the ball. So you're kind of sinking down into the ground. Top leg is long, bottom leg is bent, or both legs are bent. From here, I want you to think of pulling away from the ball, lifting the ribs up to the sky. And then I want you to push into the ball. Okay, so it's a stretch, and then it's some work to get that movement through that midsection. Down, push into the ball. This is 3. We're going to do 5. Lifting up, wherever your top hand is comfortable. I like mine in front, but I'm moving my hand just so you guys can see the movement. 4, push, 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 push. That's 5. And pulling those ribs away. We're going to adjust the ball. I want it to come underneath you so you feel challenged to pull away from it. I don't want you to touch it, but I want it to be in a position where you'll notice if your ribs start to fall. We're going to lift that top leg up about hip height, and then we're going to lift a touch higher, come down to about hip height. So they're little baby pulses. Keeping those ribs in, head is back. We lift up about an inch, down about an inch for 10, 9, don't squish the ball, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, come down, move the ball away. We're going to go for some side lifts. So we're going to lift the hips up, ribs lift, hips barely touch down, and you come right back up. You can reach that top arm up to the sky if you want more of a challenge. Even more yet would be lift that top leg. For 10, keep the hips facing forward. 9, 8, it's just the hips coming down. 7, slow control. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's hold at the top. I want everybody up. Hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and come down. Split the legs into that Z sitting position. Take that arm we were laying on, reach it up, 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 and over. Relax both shoulders, and let's try to breathe into those ribs, into the side. Try to stretch a little further, anchoring down your sit bones. And let's switch sides. Grab that ball. Bottom leg is bent, top leg is long. First part, we're just placing it under the ribs. And we're thinking of squishing the ball down, pulling the ribs away from the ball. That's 1. Squish, squish, squish. Up 2. Squish it down. 3. Keep the head in line with the spine. Squish. 4. Squish. 5. Let's move the ball closer to you. Keep those ribs lifted away from the ball. Let's lift that top leg about hip height. Just that should feel like work if you're pulled away from the ball. We lift up an inch and down. For 10, head stays back. 9, 8, little baby lift. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Set that foot down. Remove the ball. We're going to lift our hips up and down. You can reach that arm up to the sky. Foot down is going to be a touch easier than if we lift that top leg. So we're lifting for 10, 9, keep the head back. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We hold at the top for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come down, split the legs, take that leg or that arm we were just laying on, reach it up, up, up to the sky, and then we stretch away from that side. Make sure both shoulders are relaxed. Trying to send your breath into the ribs, into that whole side body. And let's come up to a seated position. We're going to do some quadruped stuff in just a second, but I want to warm up our wrists a little bit today. So we're going to take our arm. These are our wrist cars. Forearm is up, and I want an open hand today. It's been a while since we've done this. Now, watching your forearm, we're going to bring our hand to the center of the body. Reach those fingers down to the ground. Keep your hand as open as you can. Reach out to the side and come up. Reach into the body, down to the ground. Now pause at the bottom. I want you to look to see where your fingertips go when you reach down to the ground. Reason being, this is the position we hold when we're in quadruped. So if you have wrist pain, I want you to just understand that if you do not have the ability to get your fingertips close to your forearm to really reach that way, it makes sense there's some wrist pain, okay? So this is the exercise you need to practice. Out to the side, come in, center down, out to the side. Let's switch direction. We go away from the middle, reach down to the ground, come in and up, away from the middle, down to the ground, in, up. Last one, away from the middle, down to the ground, in and up. So that should be work as we're doing it, because if it's not, you're probably not pushing enough. So it's this position that if I cannot get flat, then as soon as I load it with any weight, it makes sense that there's a little bit of pain. So that's just a good exercise for us to all practice on our own. Let's go for the other side. Palm facing up, come into the center, down to the ground, away from the center and up. In, reach those fingertips down to the ground, and you see if I push on it, it's a lot of stretch there, away from the center and up. And just pause, take a look to see where you're at with this side. Is it different? Is it the same, better, worse? Away from the center, up, switching direction. Reach away from the center of the body, come down to the ground, in and up, away from the center, down to the ground, in, up. Last one, away from the center, down to the ground, in and up. Now, we're going to come into a quadruped position, and I understand some of you who would have maybe wrist pain, maybe you use hand weights or you use something to ease off of the wrist, which is fine, but in the long term, it would be nice if we just gave our wrists more mobility instead of trying to always alter the position. So hands are under shoulders, knees are under hips. In this position, I want you to reach your left leg along the mat. Toes are still touching down, straight leg. Reaching the right arm along the mat, fingertips are touching and my toes are touching. From here, keeping my hips square, I'm going to reach that arm and leg up about hip and shoulder height. They tap down to the ground and they lift. Nothing else is moving. That's 2. We're doing 5. 3, 4, super straight leg. The back of my knee is lifting up, and 1 more. Up. And then we come back in. Let's switch sides. I like to keep the foot on the ground to start with. I find it helps keep the hips a little more square. Opposite arm and leg, shoulders are away, and then we lift up and down for 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back down. We're going to grab our weight. We're going to place it behind one of our knees. So if you've got a ball or a weight, either way, you can put it behind your knee. The ball is probably harder to hold, depending on the size. And we're going to push that heel up to the sky. Come back down. Try to keep the hips square. Push up. 2, 3. We're going for 10 of these ones. 4. Try not to let the hips shift. 5. Try not to arch the lower back. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Keep it up at the top. Make sure your hips are square. We've got pulses for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Remove the weight. Take your opposite arm, come down on your forearm. Extend the leg you were just working. Reach it long. Lift it up to the sky. And then let's set it down beside us. As close, as high up towards your body as you can. It comes up to the sky and down. So now your hips are opening. That's 1. We're doing 5. Lift up to the side, up, and back. 2. Up to the side, up. 3, up to the side, up. 4, last one, up to the side, up, and 5. Press back, little stretch. Let's go for the other side. Bring that weight behind the knee. Hands are under shoulders, knees are under hips. Flex that foot. We push up and down for 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We push up to the top. Find your square hips. Pulse for 10. 9, it's tiny. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Set that weight aside. Take that opposite arm, come down on your forearm, reach that leg long. We lift it up to the sky, out to the side for 1. Lift up, really reach, point those toes up. That's 2. Up to the side, up. 3, up, up. 4, up, up, and 5. Press back, a little bit of a stretch. Let's come onto our hands and knees again in that nice quadruped position. We're gonna go for some spine articulation. So we're gonna bring our chin down towards our chest. We're gonna think of rounding the neck, rounding the upper back to the mid back to the lower back, slowly, gently. Really pressing into the mat, pulling the belly in. And then let's switch direction. We're going to think of extending, arching that lower part of the back very slowly to the mid back, to the upper back, and then looking up with our head. And let's go again. Chin comes down. The slower you can go with this spine articulation, the better. Really rounding, pulling that belly in, pushing into the mat. And we reverse. All the way up. And let's go for, that was 2 full reps. Let's do 2 the other direction. So now from this extended position, we're gonna start to flex. We're gonna round that lower part of your back. Keep the chest up as long as you can. Rounding. And now we extend from the head. We all have a preference in our bodies of which way we like to start the movement from. I like to do both ways for all of us. Because if you don't like it, it probably means you really, really need it. And if you really like it, then it's nice to be able to practice some that you actually really like. Lift head, chest, and low back. Let's press back, round the spine just that little bit. We're going to come into a supine position. So we're going to lay on our back. Now, I didn't tell anybody to have a block or anything for our head today. I'm just going to use my Pilates ball. If you've got a yoga block or a towel, we're going to get into a sideline position in a second for our arm exercise, for the arm opening. So I want your legs up to the sky. Arms are out in that T position. We're going to open the legs wide, rocking side to side. And we're going to let that one leg come down to the ground, set it up high. Open the other leg away, gently, slowly. Let it come down to land directly on that bottom leg. So now here is where you don't actually need anything for your head, but you could use whatever is nearby or your bottom arm. Take that back arm, so make sure your feet are stacked, knees, hips, all the way up, back arm. It's gonna open up overhead. Now the closer you go to the sky, the easier on your shoulder, and then reaching forward, hands are stacked. If this is too much for you, you can open directly up to the sky and back, but I prefer this nice little half circle. Reach that arm up, overhead, back behind you. And if you're using your Pilates ball like I am for your head, I actually like how it lets my head just move wherever I'm comfortable. And then back forward. That's 1. I want to do 5. I really find that this is an area of our body we all need a little extra attention. Lift up, open. That's 2. Slowly, gently. So it's like our hands are stacked on each other at 3 o'clock. We go to 2, 1, 12, 11, 10, finish in about 9. That's 3. Gently, slowly. 2 more. Reaching up overhead. 4, we'll stay there on the next one. Last one, big swoop up overhead. Get rid of the ball or whatever is under your head. So I'm in that nice T position. I'm going to take that top leg. I'm going to lift it up to the sky. And I'm going to slowly let the other leg come up. Bring the legs to center. Make sure you are flat on your back. We're going to do 1 abdominal exercise here. Hands are together, legs are together. I'm going to curl up. Curling up's not good for you. You are going to stay down with your head. We're going for the top leg we just had, outside of the back of the hand, outside of the knee. And we're just going to lower the leg and lift for 10. Keep the head facing down, 9. 8, neutral spine. 7, 6, push the back of the hand to the outside of the knee. That makes it harder. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Both knees into the chest, head comes down. And let's switch sides. Reach those legs up to the sky. Up to the sky, let's open them out. We're in that nice T position, rock side to side. And let that leg come down. Open the top leg away and then slowly guide it to that bottom leg. Make sure the feet are directly stacked. Take that back arm, swoop it up overhead. Notice right away a difference between your shoulders, good or bad. And reach up overhead. And back. And work within the range that feels good for you. So you may have to lift your arm, as I do on this side, a little bit more towards the ceiling. Or maybe this is your side where you get to go a little bit lower. 3 full reps. Make sure those feet are stacked, knees and hips. This is 4. And we'll stay open on the next one. And 5. Get rid of that ball. Lift that top leg. Gently let that bottom leg lift. Legs together. Hands together. We curl up towards that top leg. Back of the hand, outside of the knee. We lower for 10. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. Bend both knees into the chest. Relax the head down. Let's set our feet down on the mat, wider than your mat. Arms are at your sides. Let's let the knees fall to one side. And then the other. Back and forth, a couple more times. And let's take our time. We're going to come up to a seated position. So you can roll onto your side. We're going to grab our weights. And we're going to sit however you are comfortable. If you like your legs straight out, if you like them crossed, if you want to sit on a yoga block, whatever feels comfortable for you. We're going to grab our hand weights. We're going to go for our serving. So shoulders are down and back. Crown of the head is up to the sky. We press the arms out to shoulder height and bend for 5. 4. Elbows come down. 3. 2. Keep the arms straight. Come down. If your legs are crossed like mine, you go wider. 2. Grow tall. This is 2. Miscounted. Shocking. 3. Pinky finger up to the sky. 4. Try to keep the wrists nice and straight. And 5. Let's hug a tree. So we've got our arms open wide. Keep the elbows bent for 1. Grow tall. Nothing else moves. 2. 3. Grow tall, tall, tall. 4. And 5. Last variation, arm arcs. We push up in front of the body. Open wide for 1. 2. Grow tall. 3. 4. And 5. Come down. We're gonna either stay cross-legged or you can come into a Z sitting position. We're gonna go for some lateral stretching. So if you're sitting cross-legged, switch to the way that is not comfortable. Thank you, Sherry. Find your sit bones. We're gonna reach your right arm up to the sky. I want it straight. Reach it up, reach it up, reach it up. And then we bend over to the left, but I want it straight. Keep the arms straight, straight, straight. Shoulders are away from the ears. Breathe into that whole side body. Keep reaching to the side as you rotate your body just a little bit. So now I'm turning to face that side. Turn face straight ahead. Slowly, gently come sit tall. Other side, we reach that arm up to the sky, and I want you to really think of reaching it tall. And then we stretch over. Keep that sit bone down. Reaching, reaching. Relax the shoulders. And now we add that tiny rotation. Tiny. Turn face straight ahead and come tall. Let's do one more each side. Reach that arm up, 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 and over. And add that little baby rotation. Turn face straight ahead and back up. Last one, we reach up to the sky. Up, 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 over. Push into that bottom hand, reach over, over, over. And let's add that little rotation. Turn, face straight ahead and come up. Let's bring our shoulders up to our ears, roll them back and down. Two more, up to the ears, back and down. Last one. And down. Good. Good, good, good. Hopefully everybody feels a little stretchy, a little bit of fun work with the wall today.